Alrighty, so we are recording. How are
I
you?
am good. How are you?
Dr. Melanie Maclin. This is an honor.
Oh,
I was doing all of my research and learning about all that you're doing. Oh my gosh, you have a footprint and a handprint, my love, all
yes.
over the place.
I have tried. It's
God,
been 22 years.
well done, well done. And I'm just so delighted to have this opportunity to learn with you.
Mhm.
Um, just welcome to you. Welcome to all of the listeners. You are tuned in to another segment of Conversations in the Nick of Time. I am your host, Nikki Roach. As you know, this show is powered by Sparkman Pathway to Careers. Mrs. Marilyn, we always send you love and blessings. And also KSTL 690 Jubilee, one of our inspirational programs and radio stations here in St. Louis, Missouri. I am honored and blessed to have this opportunity to be with you every week. And those who are new to the show understand that this platform is like a global classroom. And we bring on amazing guests, such as the one today, to give us some insight on things we need to do better as leaders. And we're going to hear from her to hear about her journey as a leader, but also how to better us so we can show up in excellence and we can correct some of these accidents that, that we've been doing.
Yes.
I am just delighted. And I have to thank also Spencer Davis group for
Yes.
coordinating all of this, because honestly, I did not know, but once I started researching, I said, why don't I know about this?
Oh,
So you are a celebrity, renowned dermatologist that is passionate about educating the general public on skin and hair. And we're gonna have a ball with this topic, right?
right. We love our skin and we love our hair. Yes.
Right. So you were a contributor, a regular contributor on the Steve Harvey Morning Show. You
Yes.
did some time with Russ Parr. I lived in New York for a while, so I'm very familiar with his morning show.
Mhm.
You had your own show, Dr.
Yes.
Show on Call, so you're totally familiar with the platform. You've been on Radio One, Fox TV, news shows. You were
Mhm.
featured in Chris Rock's Good Hair film, 50 Cent, Rock Newman TV show, which I did get a chance to see several episodes.
Okay.
And the list goes on and on and on. But you are a Howard graduate, medical in the medical space, and then you also were writing contributor to Sister and Hype Hair magazine. So I'm going to stop there because I can keep going, but you also have your own line, which we will get into that towards the end, or wherever you need to plug it in, because this is conversation. So feel free to jump in and cut me off. But what is a dermatologist? What is that?
You know what? It's so funny that you asked that question because a lot of people really don't know, and especially us as people of color, we have hair and skin issues, and we think the first line of people to go to, which normally we do, would be our hairstylist or the facial esthetician or spa. But in fact, if you are truly having like a medical problem, like a real issue, then it's the dermatologist. We're like the medical experts of hair and skin. So we have to do the whole medical school. So I went to Howard Medical School. I finished there in 95. And then I went on to do my internal medicine at a Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore. And then my 3 years of dermatology training at Washington Hospital Center in Washington, D.C. So it was a lot of school, Nick. It was it was a lot, but I love what I do and it was worthwhile. And that's why I'm here to give myself that I've been doing now for 22 years to give us as people of color, especially over the counter tricks of the trade for our hair and skin issues, because unfortunately we cannot get to a dermatologist. Many of us, as you just said, we don't even know what a dermatologist is.
Yeah.
So, I had to jump in there and help my people because I got love. I'm a people person.
Yes, and what's so interesting is that, also in research, being reminded that you are checking for what is really the largest organ that all of us, even
Yes.
skin is the largest organ. And it's
Yes.
also the first line of defense against, it says, bacteria, viruses, moisture, heat, all of that. It regulates our temperature
Mhm.
and provides clues for internal
Yes.
conditions.
Well, see, the thing is, skin we see, but it's really an internal organ, as you just said. It's like it makes up 75% of our entire body. But because we don't think of it as internal, we think of it as external. We're so focused on a whole bunch of like topical things to do, when in fact it's from within. That's really how you're going to change skin. And so honestly, Nick, that has been my platform. When I finished in June of 99 in dermatology, I said, I'm preaching to the world that if we want to improve our skin, it has to begin within. It's not just the external. So yeah, that started my whole journey of really cultivating people on a national level. Like, look, I've got to change what's going on the inside, because this topical stuff is just putting a band-aid really on everything. And so, yeah.
So then I'm trying to see. So I had a couple things. I'm going to save the hair for the second
Yeah.
half.
And you can ask me anything. I'm unscripted, Nick. I don't know if the Spencer Davis group told you that, but I don't like to have anything written down. And
I
you can
don't either.
you
I
can
don't.
tear up the papers that you may have there and just talk
Just
from the
your bio.
heart.
It's just your bio. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
trying to do the same thing because that's why it's conversation. Um,
Mm-hmm.
appreciate you. But there are some myths. I wanted to start with the skin and
Mm-hmm.
just jump into that about some things that we hear, we've bought into, we're superstitious about. That one being you get acne because you don't wash your face. That kind of thing.
Oh.
Not that's
Mhm.
correct us on that.
Well, there's a ton of myths, and that probably is a whole Dr. Mac book within itself. But no, to your question, I mean, to your myth about the acne, acne is an issue that's internal, where the oil glands are spitting out so much oil from whether it's hormonal, especially starting in teens with the surges of hormones, or stress, or there's a lot of things that can just cause our oil glands to just really spit out a whole bunch of oil and clog the pores. So when the pores are clogged, then that is what can start generating a lot of bacteria buildup on the inside. And then we get this lovely, beautiful acne bump on the outside. So it can look like just a regular red bump, but then it can start getting like a cute little white bump. And we don't like that. We start picking and all that. So it truly is a process that starts on the inside, but we just see it on the outside, and we can get panicky about it. I mean, because this is a major thing that happens, especially in teens, and can be not only on the face, but the chest, the back, the arms, anywhere where oil glands are predominant. And that is where the problem can be, because once it gets rampant like that, it starts affecting these teen brains. So, yeah.
So, and you mentioned stress. Stress is something that can stimulate the reaction to the skin.
Oh yeah, stress can take over everything, girl. I don't know if you know, but it just takes over pretty much the majority of organs in our body. So that's why we're always taught, like, oh, try to control your stress as much as you can. And that comes from, getting the mind right. And I always tell people, like, we have to get the mind right to get the body right, because this brain up here,
Yes,
this is the center of everything.
that's
If
it.
we don't get this right, and what I call beautify the brain, we can't beautify the body. So
Wow.
we have to get this part right, because, and especially when it comes to skin and hair, because we can see, we see what's going on with our hair. We see what's going on with our skin. So that right there massively affects someone's brain and psyche. So I try to, when I do a lot of consulting work, that's what I do, is I consult people by phone and talk to them that are responding to me from the various magazines or radio, television, or whatever, to help to just answer their questions, to be a more credible source instead of going to Dr. Google. You know, you can call them to Dr. Mac, and and you can get answers that way. But the thing is, I want to be able to help that person that may call me crying. And Nick, yeah, I've had quite a few people on average, they call me in tears about hair issues, skin issues, because to be quite honest with you, there's a lot of people they don't have an opportunity for someone to hear what they're saying. And so they call in tears, but trust and believe by the time they get finished, get them to understand what's going on and know that it's okay, baby girl, that, or baby boy, because I still got some few guys in there too, that if you are having some issues, let's get that mind right. Because if we can get that mind right on the inside, I trust and believe you, I can get your hair and your skin right on the outside. So that's been my mantra forever. It's tried and true, Blue Me, and that's what I do.
And it's so interesting because, like, even today, you know, I recently put a post out, and it was get your mind right.
Yeah.
And so because it affects every single thing, but who would have thunk that a dermatologist, though, is telling us to get our mind right?
Well, you know, Nikki, I've done like a lot of innovative things. People are like, wait a minute, how are you even thinking these things? But you know, I think differently. I think like that person that no one is listening to. And that's been what I've done. So I don't know if you call me that whisper or, you know, whatever, but I accept all titles as long as it's helping our people to get, you know, their best hair in their skin or whatever. And then, of course, if I can't help, then I've got my clinical colleagues in different parts of the US that I naturally refer them to, because I don't do hands-on clinical work. I'm that kind of like, I fill in that gap, like, okay, well, you know, is this something that really needs to go to a dermatologist? Not because we can't afford a dermatologist. You understand what I'm saying? But if there's something that is serious enough and needs a real evaluation, then I have, you know, my referral systems to my different colleagues in different areas.
Yeah, wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
One more skin question, a myth.
Okay.
We're gonna shift it. The harder you scrub or exfoliate, the better.
Oof. You know, there's two sides to that. Okay. One side, yes, exfoliation is good. I actually I know that, you know, you've got a lot, we've all, not you, but me, you, and everybody, we grow naturally skin cells on a regular basis, and they can overgrow. And if we don't remove that overgrowth of those old dead skin cells, skin is looking dry and crunchy. You know, nobody likes dry, crunchy skin. So this is why we say, look, at least once or twice a week, definitely rub, you know, do some sort of like exfoliation scrub or some of those loofah sponges. Now, don't put the loofah sponge down in the bathtub or the shower, throw it on the floor, because that's defeating the purpose, because then now you're scrubbing in bacteria back on that skin. So a lot of people don't do that. So it's important to still exfoliate. Now, on the other side of the deal, there's a thing of over exfoliation and which can over irritate the skin. It can cause these little, you know, micro irritations and abrasions that you may not be able to physically look at. But if you touch the skin, you're like, oh, I think I have overdone it. And so then that can create a whole nother series of issues. So, you know, it's you have to stay in between. It, like I said, at least, you know, once or twice a week. Now, the facial skin especially is a lot more delicate. So you want to try to do that maybe, you know, once or twice a week, but using some mild. A lot of people, you know, these days, Nick, are using these homemade. They're getting the sea salt, they're getting the sugar out of the cabinets, and the oatmeal. And all of those are wonderful things for the, you know, try it home type of thing. But, you know, we're creating problems. And so we have to be careful on doing those things. So I say it's best, just stick to an over-the-counter brand, whatever all of those scrubs generally are kind of like under manufacturer sort of guidelines. So we know that they're safely put together. So it's better to kind of stick with products that have been manufactured properly. And they also will have the proper preservatives in there so that they're not growing bacteria, because those folks are sending you those homemade scrubs, it's coming with some homemade bacteria in maybe 2-3 days. Yes. And they don't know that. So yeah, people are coming up with their kitchen made things, which is a wonderful natural approach. However, if after like 2 to 3 days or so, maybe a little bit longer, if it's kept in the refrigerator, it's going to have significant bacterial growth. So yeah, we have to be careful. Stick to the over the counter, the store brands for exfoliants. Okay. Yeah.
Dr. Mac, how important is this water?
My favorite.
It's not.
That's really all I drink is water, and more water, and add some lemon, because your body is 75% water. And folks were like, oh, I don't like the way water tastes, and oh, this and that. Let me tell you, your body is 75% water. So this is the calculation. You take half of your body weight, you divide that in half, okay? And whatever that half is, that's the amount of ounces in water that you should drink per day. So look at your bottle of look at your bottle. How many ounces is the bottle of water that you just held up?
This is,
and that's look like a big bottle. It looks bigger than you. That's a
33.8.
Oh wow. Okay. So
and I can't get through, like I force myself to get through this in a day.
Okay. So you for 33 ounces?
I force.
No. Okay.
I'm so okay. So that I have to.
So that's the thing. A lot of people don't like the taste of water. So it's okay to put something else in there to match. There's like some water enhancers. They call them like little water flavor enhancers. You can add lemon is a great detox. It's one of my favorites. Lime, whatever. A splash of orange juice, splash of apple juice, splash of cranberry juice, whatever. You've got to get the water in there, because if our body doesn't get enough water, guess what happens? The cellular function can't work. Your organs are not working to the max degree. You're dehydrated. Your intestines are like, Nick, if you don't put some more water in here.
Don't you know what Dr. Mac
said? So you'll think about me next time you pick up that 33-ounce bottle of water. You'll be like, let me take 2 gulps. But but no. So the overall thing is like, everybody take half of your body weight in water. I mean, in ounces of water, and that's what you do. So if everybody's not gonna carry around a 33-ounce bottle. Some people may just have like the normal 17. I think it's like 16.9 or 17-ounce bottles of water or whatever. So they may say, okay, my goal is to drink 3 of these a day, or 4 of these a day. But more importantly, out of even all of this that we're talking about, definitely the first thing that someone needs to do when they get up in the morning is gulp down at least 8 ounces of water. Yeah. Because think about it, you've been sleeping all night, your body is even more dried out, especially if the prior day you didn't hardly drink any water. So you are really dried out, and you're like, what is going on? You're foggy in the brain. Kids or can't think right. Water is so critical, and it will change a person's life. So drink your water, girl. Gulp it down, make 2 of them.
I know, and it's so funny because I think I have this conversation once a year with one of the doctors, and who comes on the show, and it's like, okay, I'm still trying. That's why I try to keep it close.
Take whatever your favorite beverage is, whatever that flavor, add that to the water, and it will change your life.
Okay.
Yep.
Now that I do the fruit, that does work. The infused.
Yeah. Add some. You can just add some. Get a pitcher of water in your refrigerator, or if you want to be more convenient, like you did with the bottle there, just pour some of your favorite juice or whatever. Pour some of that over, because it's always the flavor component. That's the part that people are like, oh, I don't even like the way this tastes, but I don't mind the way water tastes. Matter of fact, when we were going through medical training, you lucky if you got some water, so you better drink that water down, flavor or not.
Oh my God! So I know the water is not only good internally, but it helps with our hair. It helps with the radiation of our skin and our nails and all of that. And as we begin to shift through these spaces of expertise and attention that you provide, our crowns.
Yes.
What are we doing wrong with these crowns? There is so much research, but you, in my research, in my personal research, you've been so ahead of this curve,
Mm-hmm.
but we weren't listening.
Humbly saying, but we weren't listening.
No.
As a matter of fact, December, it was December 2019. And I can share this with you. I did an interview with Jackie Reed. She's on NBC and some other radio, Sirius XM. And we did a wonderful interview because we were talking about like breast cancer associated with relationship to hair chemicals and hair relaxers and hair dyes. And there was the NIH research that came out about the connection of breast cancer and these chemicals. And she said, after our whole interview, she was like, you know what, I'm gonna get you a t-shirt that you need to start selling that said, Dr. Mac told you so. And we say that in jest, but I have really, honestly, Nick, I've been talking about this, but from a scientific perspective, not just off the top of my brain, you understand. I've been following the research, and I've been following not just the research, I've been following what people are telling me, and I'll never forget, I think this was maybe May of 2015, 2014, somewhere in that neighborhood. I reached out to my buddy Steve. Steve Harvey is a good friend, like a mentor to me, family. And I said, Steve, I really need to get this information out there. I said, our women of color have a major issue going on with our internal, reproductive system, from fibroids to infertility. And I said, back in the day, our grandmothers and great grandmothers, they had no problem. They had 15, 20 children without a problem.
Back to back.
Now we have a lot of our women of color over the last 25, 30 years that they can't even have one. Okay, that's serious. And we have to say, what the heck has happened? And so, we go, so that's why I've been really focused on evaluating that whole chemical relation as it pertains to what it was doing to our reproductive system. So so Jackie said, look, we need to get that t-shirt done that said Dr. Mac told you so. And I just really, sometimes people just need to hear it over and over. I mean, you being in media relations, people just have to be told over and over and over again for it to really stick. But it's so important because a lot of us don't realize the chemicals that we're using to beautify our hair, they're absorbing through our scalp, and our scalp has a ton of blood vessels, and those chemicals are actually absorbing through that scalp. When you feel that burn, you in trouble, because that lets us know that your nerves are feeling it. If the nerves are feeling it, the nerves run neck and neck with the blood vessels in the body. So if the nerves that have like the pain, what we call the pain receptors on there, if they're feeling it, then the blood vessels are feeling it. And so as a result, we, through the research that has been published, which came out as early as 2011, showing the relationship of these chemicals from the hydroxide, from sodium hydroxide, which is lye, calcium hydroxide, which is no lye. And then there's also lithium and guanine hydroxide, which also are in the no lye category. Those chemicals are absorbing through that scalp, and it's causing chemical, like hormone disruption. And that hormone disruption is what's stimulating those, the uterine fibroids. We're seeing little girls as early as, or however early that the mother has started putting chemicals on her little girl's hair, they've got growing butts and breasts before women in their 18, their teen years. So the early menses, early puberty, infertility, and then now breast cancer. So it's such a major topic that we cannot talk about this enough. Yeah. And I felt like for years, Nick, I was like the only one out here that was trying to preach it. And I felt you pushed back like, Oh, we don't want to hear that. No, we don't. No, we're not talking about that. But
You know how we are. You know how we are. Like I I went a couple years and I'm like, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna take all the relaxer out, take all the relaxer out.
Mhm.
And it wasn't like a movement or I was going through anything. It was me educating myself a little
Yes.
bit on this very topic.
Mhm.
But then I went back and I, cut it all off, went back, and you know how we love our hair. Like this is
We
our
we
crown.
do, but I just want us to be smart,
I know.
because we've spent a lot of years, and it's us women of color that's the little ones that are in the childbearing age range that's going to give the future young African American women, little girls and little boys. So if we shut us down, what are we going to do? So it's one of those sensitive topics that still has to be discussed. It has to be because that's our future.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
we have, you mentioned I think it was the hydroxide.
Different chemicals, yes.
And so when we go in the store to get our own relaxers,
That's where the problem is, Jackie. I'm saying Jackie. That's what the problem is, Nick. I'm sorry. I'm so into this because honestly, Jackie and Rock Newman,
yeah.
they were probably one of the few people that wanted to discuss this subject in depth.
And that's why I'm asking because I'm trying to.
And so you're number
like,
three.
on-
Maybe Steve's number four. Y'all are in this. In other words, out of all the opportunities of media, it's not been. I can count on one hand how many people even want to talk about this. So I have to stop here and commend you for even tackling this subject,
No, it
because
is.
everybody's like, shh, don't say anything.
And my thing is, I talk about this on this platform, especially women of color, African American women. We are dying
Mhm.
at such young ages from preventable diseases and causes.
Yes.
Preventable.
Mhm.
So I am a huge advocate, and I've had a couple scares in regards to, all the, some different things. However, when you go through different things,
Yeah.
when you're facing having to make some decisions, things change for you. They
Oh,
shift.
yes.
So
Mhm.
this, when I saw, and what's interesting, even when I was getting familiar with your work, I'm like, whoa, like you can tell she's been on the battlefield for this for a
Mhm.
year. Like I think I
Mhm.
saw something from 2010. And so
Go back to 2000. Take it way back 10 years prior.
but we don't
I,
but your explanation of the cause,
Mhm.
not just because we want to go back to our roots, we want to, because that's really like the forefront, but
Yeah.
now you kind of see another shift happening to where we're going back to the chemicals, some
Yeah.
of us. And and for me, honestly, it was out of convenience because I travel a lot.
Yeah.
I'm always on the go. And so instead of doing protective hairdo, I'm like, you know what? No, let's just put some relaxer in it, but we'll go with something really mild.
Mhm.
But even listening to you, I'm
Oh, that's what the marketing got people. Unfortunately, that marketing and those pretty boxes that say kitty perm and they're all cute. And they were like, oh, this is for the kids. And let me tell you, that's when I really boiled inside. And that is honestly, that's why Chris Rock selected me for the film. And he had talked to lots of other dermatologists prior, because I guess when they interviewed me, they were like, oh, we got to listen to what this woman is saying, because that was the whole premise of why he wanted to do the film, was to, he wanted to talk about like why he didn't want to have his little girls with this chemical on their hair for fear of what it was going to do. And maybe the other people he had interviewed didn't quite, convince him enough. But I was like, no, this is what I do. Because when I filmed with that was '08 or somewhere in that neighborhood. I had been on this journey for almost 10 years of trying to ingrain in people's brains, like, please, you can do whatever that you want to do to your hair, but please don't do that to my baby girls, because I call all girls my baby girls, because I'm like, look, that's our future. If we don't protect their reproductive, especially once we were finding out the tremendous adverse effects of what's happening on giving our little girls this chemical that was really, let's keep it 100, for the for the convenience of the mom. Okay, that is 100, Nick. Yeah. Okay, because we don't, most of us, and I'm not being harsh when I say this, because I know I've talked to the mothers. Oh, well, Dr. Mac, I don't want to, it's so hard to try to comb through her hair. Take your time. You do it with you. So why don't you do that with your girls? And so, as harsh as I may sound, I kept it very 100 with these women that's up here calling me about their hair issues, and they're doing something that's creating a potential long-term horrible effect for their little girls, not just with potential hair thinning, but potentially shutting down them from becoming a grandmother. Wow. It's every mother's dream to become a grandmother. So I even had this whole platform, like, it's calling all moms. Is it straight hair today or grandchildren tomorrow? Moms, you make the choice. Because I made the choice. I have 2 teen girls. I wouldn't dare put one turned 16 just on January 31st the other day, and the other one's 18. I didn't put 1 iota of chemical in my girl's hair. Oh my gosh. So the struggles, we know how the struggles go, whatever, but you do what you have to do. But more importantly, you need to take the doggone time with your daughter, just like you take the doggone time to do your hair and your makeup, period.
So what's the alternative? Like, what's the alternative?
Well, first of all, it's the time. Because with time, if you sit there and you use some detangling conditioners and things of that nature, Nick, you're going to be able to detangle and manage that hair. We didn't have chemicals way back in the day. My mother is 91 years old and didn't have chemicals, and her mother sat down with her like any of our other grandmothers and said, we're going to comb through this hair, and we're going to grease this scalp, and we're going to do whatever we need to do. But there was no such thing as relaxers, okay? She was born in 1929, you understand? So back then, they took time. We're so stuck on everything else, and we've lost a sense of taking time for our little ones. Just take this phone and get out of my way. No. And so for the sake of that, we end up, compromising maybe their health for convenience, and our own convenience. And understand what I'm saying? So, I'm not being harsh. I'm just saying, look, come on, moms. You want grandchildren. More importantly, you want to protect your child that you both, that you had yourself. Because quite frankly, it could be in the child abuse category. You're burning your child's hair. Think about that. You are burning your child is sitting there with this perm that is getting put on their head that says kitty perm, that's falsely marketed because it's the same chemical that's in adult perms. And your child is telling you, mommy, my scalp is on fire. And you're still doing the process. Wow. So it's heavy.
Now, what about men? Men can't be left off the hook when it comes to the scalp.
Men can't, but men don't have children. Correct. You understand? So, and today, honestly, I don't think today there's been no studies on, because I don't think it's probably been enough men in the population that are using, like, in the men texturizer category, there's like the lithium hydroxide or the guanine hydroxide that's used in like the men texturizer. See, the marketing people change the words to fool people. Yes. So that's why I tell folks, don't look at the front of the box, turn it over and read those ingredients on the back.
just like we do with our foods at the grocery. Read the ingredients on the back, because the front can look all pretty and everything, and you turn that sucker on the back, and it's telling you
First word is lie.
it's like, bam, like, oh my goodness. So yeah, so that texturizer world is in the men's world as well. And yes, that chemical burns men's scalp as well, and can create, thinning and bald patches or whatever, because that man wants the good hair. But it's still not a popular, it's not a popular product. So you're not, the men, quite frankly, they're not going to be the ones that's having kids. So, I mean, yes, we need the men to have the kids, but it's not that extensive of an issue where to date, it's not, at least hasn't been published or studied enough to know if that type of chemical that's in the texturizer, the same that's in women's relaxers, are having some adverse effects on sperm count. Now, that might be a new study, Nick. We may need to check into that, or somebody may already be looking into it. But it's a very valid point.
Wow, I'm sitting here squirming because like, oh my God.
Yeah. You and millions of others. I'll never forget the time that I first talked about this subject when that publication came out about the back from, what was that, 2012, when they were like the relaxers and uterine fibroids and all this stuff in women of color. And I was like, Steve, I was like, I got to talk about this like right away. I can't tell you the number of people, from the emails to the voicemails to you name it, the outpouring. People said they literally had to pull off on the side of the road when I said what I said. They couldn't believe that the whole combination of what was going on here. Like, because a lot of people say, oh, well, she's not knowing what she's talking about. How can something that you put on your scalp be affecting your ability to have children? I said, that's called physiology 101. We learned that in medical school. No disrespect to anyone, but there are certain physiological things that happen from the chemical application on your skin and on your scalp. These chemicals absorb and they can cause major effects. And so it's already been proven through the research. So I don't have to say anything more. There's been hundreds of thousands of folks has been studied to date. So they published that work that I've been talking about forever.
and now it's other people coming behind you and after you.
Yeah.
Now you have we can talk a little bit about product that allows us to have some type of substitutes to this process, but also just tell us a little bit about your line a little bit. Yeah,
well, this whole thing of Passion of Hair, Nick, it really started really with the whole, like, okay, there has to be, I got all these women with this hair thinning issue. There has to be something natural, because as dermatologists and just as medical doctors, our first line of therapy is medications. And I felt that when it comes to beauty of hair and skin, there has to be something natural that we can start first. We shouldn't have to just automatically, oh, here's your prescription. Okay, get out of here. Because what comes with medications comes with a series of potential side effects. That's right. So, my quest was on this natural journey of what nutrients can really help to target the hair follicles. And so that's what I did starting in the late 90s, even prior to me finishing dermatology. I had all these patients at Washington Hospital Center. They were like, Dr. Maclin, I need help. I need something that I can use. And so as a result of studying those nutrients for years, and ironically, and I could say this, you may or may not have heard the product Viviscal before. It's on lots of commercials. It's the hair supplement that they talk about so much, but that was a supplement that I'm the dermatologist that helped to bring that product over from Finland in 1999. Yes. Wonderful. I helped to brand that product, and I had done a year of research of the nutrients that was in that particular supplement. And then I further advanced, because my focus was us as women of color. So I knew that, okay, I'm starting with this baseline formula, you understand, that was in Viviscal, but I'm also having people to take other things and say, okay, this is what we need to really amp this up. And so collectively, with getting together all those nutrients, we brought out Bella Nutri in 2004, and we haven't looked back. So Bella Nutri is my pride and joy. And, so I consider myself a pioneer of hair and skin supplements, because people weren't talking about taking something internally. I was called the witch doctor. Does this woman know what she's talking about? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Hair and skin are internal structures, you all. You're not going to be able to improve that structure from the external 100%. You have to do something internal. So yeah, Bella Nutri has been around since 2004. People love it. We have constant reorders. I have Bo Nutri for men that we were able to successfully bring out in 2008. Our men get, 3 and 6 months supply at a time, and sometimes even a year supply at a time. So to me, that's the biggest testimony, because a man does not usually, he's not a product junkie. Women, we are, we'll get one of anything and throw it in a garbage can, but a man they're more loyal.
And we are, there's the Nielsen report that comes out annually. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is that women of color are spending the most money.
Yes.
So, it is like almost 75% of the monies that are spent on beauty products are African American women.
Right. And people and these companies know that they can really, dive in deeply with us. They're like, oh, well, we'll come up with a new name with the same ingredients and
different package.
It's all kind of tricks in that manufacturing industry, but that's what they do. You get a good marketing team, and you use the same ingredients, and you put it in a different color bottle with a different color label and a different commercial, and you put it back on the store shelves that you had that old product, and you've got the same customers buying it over again. That's what it is. So so I'm not in that space of creating the basic shampoos and conditioners and things of that nature. My expertise is more in that what nutrients that can be done internally, and so that's I stick in that lane. Like if people want to know what they can do internally, I'm that go-to person. But I can humbly say that that's why you see a whole lot of commercials and a whole lot of products out there that say hair, skin, and nail vitamins. And I just laugh. I'm like, oh my goodness, those are just nothing but overdosed multiple vitamins with a label on there that says hair, skin, and nails. That honestly, that overdose is causing a lot of organ damage, it's causing a lot of blindness, and it's causing a whole bunch of bad skin issues, because it's loaded with a ton of biotin, which is causing horrible cystic acne. And women are wondering why they're getting acne in their 30s and 40s. And I said, well, let's go check your medicine cabinet on products that you're taking, and guarantee most of them have some product in there that have a whole bunch of biotin, because they're going to Dr. Google, or they're looking at these commercials of taking the hair, skin, and nail 30-day challenge and all this foolishness that you see on the commercials. But no, really, that's my area. If someone wants to know about how to really improve their hair and skin from within, I'm that go-to person.
Yeah. And being the go-to person, what is it that is bubbling up? Because you just light up talking about this, all of this. What is keeping that radiating glow hovering over you? What is that? This is hard work. This is hard work.
It's hard work, but it's the results. Okay. It's the emails, it's the phone calls, it's the and it's media reaching out to me. It's it's people saying thank you for taking time. Because Nick, I honestly chose a more direct to the consumer approach with my products. I could have gone to the big box stores and just push product off to them and let whoever that comes in the store buy it and go on about their merry way. But I had a heartfelt deal here. I wanted to be able to reach out and touch, if at all possible, every person that purchased my product. Because if my product is not working for you or a whole bunch of other people, I'm not going to keep making my investment to keep making the product for something that doesn't work. You know, I'm a person of integrity, morals, and ethics. And so that's why when anyone gets on any products that I have my Dr. Mac stamp on, you're getting me too. And humbly saying that's priceless, because I'll wait on finding out who else has done that. You often find manufacturers, they produce a product and they push it off to the stores, or they push it off to a website, and you don't know who developed it, who created it. You can't talk to anyone. Everything is all automated right now. If someone emails me, guess what? I'm emailing them back. Someone texts me that I end up, because now I started to actually allow people to text me, I'm texting them back. But that means the world to me, because guess what? That word of mouth is what keeps you going.
Right.
I've been doing that direct to the consumer approach since even before that. I started with Viviscal in 99, September of 99. And then when I came up with my own product, Bellanutri, in 2004, now you really know my heart was in it, because that was my baby. You understand? So
yeah,
that's what keeps that's what keeps me, radiating about all of this, because I know that I'm truly helping that person, and I can talk to that person, or I can have that communication that people want. They don't want to be left in the dark when it comes to their hair and their skin, because that's their pride and their joy. They want that more better than what blood pressure medicine or diabetic medicine or thyroid medicine. I mean, just keeping that honest as well. That beauty thing is deep.
Yeah. Now, what would you say if you could go back, some lessons learned at this point, what would you have done different?
Oh gosh. That's a tough question. Because Nick, I follow my heart.
Okay.
I'm not a person that follows just the status quo. And from day one, I followed my heart on how I was going to see this through, despite people saying, oh, Dr. Maclin, you should do it this way. Or, oh, no, Walmart wants to put your products here, and this person wants to take your products and do this. And respectfully, I honored, those different opinions, but I felt like the direction that I was going and wanting to be tried and true to me and the person that I'm trying to help, I just had to keep following that path. So because I stayed true to me for you, I don't feel like I don't feel like there's anything that I've done. You know what I mean? I don't have negative regrets, because I'm still doing that. I'm still that same person. It feels so great. Christmas time, I got a voicemail from a lady, and she said, I'm hoping that this is still your number. I was one of your people that got with your product when you first started Bellanutri in 2004. And she says, I'm wondering, do you still have the product? I was coming across some old receipts. And I called her back. I said, oh my God, Miss Jones, I remember you.
Oh my
God. Because I honestly have a great memory. I have a great memory for remembering people's voices and names and numbers. Like so that meant a lot, because that was truly being me. And so I have no regrets or whatever. I followed my heart.
I love that. That is a great lesson to all of us, in regards to no matter what industry you have landed in or you may pivot into. Staying true to yourself. I know we toss around this word authenticity right now.
Somebody else may be making you all trying to make them their authentic self. They're not really diving into like who Nick is. You may have this voice or someone else saying, Nick, you should go into this direction. But Nick in her heart is like, I don't want to do that. And so I feel like as soon as someone does in that pivot into the wrong direction of this person and that may not be properly guiding you, it can misguide you.
Yeah.
And you could go in a direction of honestly just really not liking who you are anymore, or quite frankly, not liking the industry or whatever you're doing because you have not been your authentic self. You've been authentically misguided.
Yeah. Exactly. And we have to be cautious, but that's why I said that's such a great lesson
Mm-hmm.
for us to tune in and lock into.
Mm-hmm.
Stay true. It
Yeah.
is not, and I love even your journey. It has not been about popularity. It's been about what's right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And what is not only right for you and
Mhm.
your career and your personal brand, but right for the people that you serve. Like
Yes.
you have such a servant perspective
Mm-hmm.
to this. I mean, to the serve, whether it's consultation, whether it's through the product, it's all been from this place of serve. I'm here to serve you and
Yeah.
help you be
Mhm.
better and meet your need. So
Yeah.
again, another thank you for sharing that. That's a jewel for us to all be mindful of.
Yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of opportunities. I really have. Um, that could have, taken me to, maybe some folks may felt could take me to higher levels. I mean, but I'm like, well, I never thought I would have hit the silver screen either. I, I didn't go to medical school to think that I was actually going to make it
Syndication,
to a
hey,
movie. and
and syndication.
right, and syndication. I mean, and with Steve and his radio show and Radio One and all the different platforms within radio that I've done and magazine. I mean, I never thought, and heck, I even got approached by Dr. Phil to be a co-host with the Doctor Show some years ago when they were like, "Oh, we want you out in California," and it was a great experience. Don't get me wrong, to just go there and be part of the them pulling, you got to come out here with us. And I said, but if I come out with you all, I still can be me as Dr. Mac with my people.
Love that.
And I said, I mean, I can, having a place out in California, that's wonderful. But I've got a beautiful home and beautiful family in Maryland that I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
And you can't, and on a side note, you can't, they're like, oh, we like to have fun and go to dinner and do all these things and drive our fancy cars. I said, well, yeah, I've got my little Dr. Mac Maserati too. And so I'm okay.
I love.
But I just say all I just say all that and threw that in there because it was so hilarious. It was, Dr. Phil and his whole team. It was a really great experience because they were like, oh, you would just be great and we love you. And that really was, a very special time. But I had to hold Dr. Phil's hand and say, I so appreciate what you're offering, but I'm just gonna have to just still watch you guys on TV. So it was great. It was great. So yeah. So and that was just one opportunity that I'm sharing with you to say, to your point that people can easily be misguided by the whole celeb stuff. Yeah. And it can take you away from being your authentic self.
Yeah.
Like that word, that genre doesn't exist with me. You are a human being. I want to know your heart and who you are, and are you a person of integrity, morals, and ethics? That's what means the most to me, not your celeb name. Okay? So they can take that however they want, but that's being a person's true authentic self when they can just really be who they are and be a person of the heart.
Wonderful. Now you have this platform to convey a message to the world, and we call this, a lesson in the nick of time.
Yes.
You kind of just drop some gems. Not kind of. You did just drop some gems back to back in regards to authenticity, leadership, servanthood, staying true. But even to other leaders who may find themselves being busy. Let me go this route. they're busy. We're all busy. Some of us productive, but many of us busy.
Mm-hmm.
Different things. And you have the platform to convey a message to them why it is important to understand the need, the cry, the call that you have just put forth to take time to slow down for our hair care, our skin care, and this is across genders.
Yes.
What would you tell them?
Well, first and foremost, I say that a person cannot take care of anyone else if they don't take care of me, myself, and I. I always say that, every day, Nick, I mean, I have followed this, platform every day, and I'll be 51 on March 4th. So in a couple of weeks, but I always say, and I grew up with this from my mom, because I would always say, Mom, you almost look perfect every day. Even when she wasn't feeling well. My mother was a prominent pediatrician. She's still there in Chicago. And she just, when she'd walk down the stairs every day, me and my brother would see, she was like the epitome of excellence. And she instilled that in me. She says, baby, I need for you to be prepared to meet your public every single day. Okay, and I learned this as like a little girl, okay? And that's so important to how I live my life today, and that I share with other people, that because I'm an entrepreneur. I've worked from home for 22 years. This is my house. I haven't been to an office, never was interested in working in anyone's closed-in box. But I say all that to say is, I wake up and get myself together for me and be prepared to meet my public, whether it's on the phone, whether it's on the computer, whether it's on a Zoom like you, because if you cannot do that for you for darn sure cannot do that for anyone else, and you're calling yourself a leader. If you cannot lead you, calling me, myself, and I, you can't help you, yourself, and you and them. So that's my message for the last moment of in the nick of time. So tomorrow morning, when your nick of time listeners and viewers, when they see your broadcast, whenever this may be, hopefully they too can say, oh, let me get myself up and get myself together every day. No excuses allowed. I'm not saying that you have to get up in full hair and makeup and all of this kind of stuff, but you get yourself up and you get it together and you groom, because the higher power is watching. And if he or she doesn't see you doing that for you, how do you think that other people are going to think that you can do that for someone else?
Wow.
So that is how that's how I've built my business. That's how I continue to operate. That's what I continue to share with my daughters, and they do that with excellence. And I have tons of mentees. I preach that to them as well, because it's so important. And it's not about, oh, well, I don't care about how I look. I'm at home by myself. Oh, but you know what? You're not just home by yourself. They're looking, and the mirror is looking at you. Okay? Your impression is looking at how you look. So if I can just really ingrain in people's brains, you get up and get yourself together for you. You will feel better. You'll act better. You'll be presented better and to your public. Yeah. And for people to really appreciate you and what you're saying and what you're doing. Because if you look sloppy, you're probably going to do other things sloppy as well.
Right. Dr. Melanie Maclin, oh my God, this has been such amazing.
Yes, it's been
amazing occasion.
When I got the interview, when Spence, said, oh, I've got the interview set up, and I said, oh, that's wonderful. I said, I don't know what we're going to talk.